Mic check, 1, 2.
That
sounds good.
Heard
You heard me.
something. Yeah, check, check.
Or
1, 2,
somewhere.
3, 4, 5. I heard something there.
All right. Hot mic. All right, mic
Check,
check,
check.
1, 2, 3.
Are you there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kurt Busch.
Great.
All right.
We'll be back up. I'll let you guys know, but
Okay.
really soon.
We're up Giraffe Watch, but we're here with Kurt Busch, Daytona 500 winner this week, getting ready to race in Atlanta this week. And Kurt, we've talked a little bit about the Daytona 500. At my house, we had a Daytona Day pool. There was 4 of us, each picked 5 drivers, and as we go through the day, it's just crossing one out after the other as everybody has to go behind the wall and they can't come back now. You're a guy who was in a wreck and we almost crossed out, but you were able to fight through that. You didn't lead any laps until the very end. It was kind of a crazy race.
I mean, it was the Daytona 500 that nobody expected, but yet it can be expected. There's so much unpredictability in this race now. I mean, damage, penalties, now this new 5-minute clock, which we were up against at one point. And yeah, we managed it well, got the damage fixed, got back out there. And then when I tried to lead later in the race, the car had so much damage on it that it really wouldn't lead well. And I just tried once on the back straightaway to poke out there, and it got pushed back. I said, you know what? I got to follow. I've got to follow. And I'll have one move on the last lap, and we'll see if it works.
Yeah, all the folks up in Dawsonville, Georgia, not far from here, were holding their breath as Chase was out front. I think nobody kind of knew what their gas situation was. I know you probably didn't know what yours was. If it would have come down to the last lap, could you show the youngin' a thing or two, even if he didn't run out of gas?
Yeah, I felt like he made a move with about 4 laps to go, and I was like, man, that was a bit too soon there, bud. And then I think he hung on to the lead draft in 7th for a little bit. But yeah, we were a half a lap shy. I think he was a full lap shy. Just depended on how well the fuel guy topped off the tank, because when it comes down to the end at Daytona, if the calculator says you're within a lap, you kind of roll the dice, you go for it. But 2.5 miles is quite the fuel mileage stretch. But luckily our Ford engine had enough fuel and we made it to the end.
Chase is one of those young guys. It seems like there's so many young guys out there. Blaney was right up there with you. Larson ended up running out of gas. Have you had a chance to have some of those moments with those guys of welcome to the big time?
There hasn't been really that one moment just yet, but those guys, they continue to gain experience. They're gaining strength on the track. Their cars are running faster, and with that comes confidence within themselves. And so Larson won for the first time last year. Chase is right around the corner of winning. So is Ryan Blaney. I mean, there's an onslaught of the young guys that are coming up, and they're doing good. They get the sport, they understand it, and it's up to our group as veterans, though, to still hold them back.
Yeah. Is it nice, little brother, Kyle, he ended up matching you with the Cup Series championship a couple years ago, but now you got something else you can hold over his head because he hadn't won a Daytona 500 yet. Is that nice as a big brother?
Well, slow down. I mean, he won Indianapolis 2 years ago during that championship run. I mean, he was lights out, the fastest car on the racetrack after he came back from his accident early in the season, came back from surgery, rehab, and just having a child. Little Brexton is now in our lives. He's done an amazing job, and there's no real comparison here. I still think that he's got the upper hand.
He was kind of that guy everybody loved to hate for such a long time. I think that's not really the case anymore. There doesn't seem like that guy in NASCAR, at least in the Cup Series for the moment, that everybody loves to boo when he comes out.
I think this next generation is more lovable, and so everybody seems to have more of a hall pass, so to speak, on not being the villain. Maybe that's what our sport needs. Maybe it doesn't matter to the next group of fans, but in all honesty, it's about good racing. And I thought the end of the Daytona 500, the last 50 laps, we're all out there stretching our fuel, but it was all the young kids just bobbing, weaving in and out, and it was just chaos, and none of us wrecked. That's the best part.
Yeah, so this week at Atlanta will be the 2,500th Cup Series race. You got Monster just came on board, your still sponsor that has now taken over the title sponsorship. When you look at NASCAR, little changes, especially this season, but how do you feel? 2,500 Cup races now. What do you think the state of the sport is?
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, that's a fantastic number. It just shows the depth and the history of our sport to have that many races. And over the years, as sponsors have changed and come and gone, different TV producers and contracts, and here we are enjoying one of the most beautiful TV contracts, and a new entitlement sponsor with Monster Energy. The way the sport feels to me is that it's in a solid place. We have our old school fans, new school fans. We're going to some of the old school tracks, just like this weekend here in Atlanta.
Right.
A new track that hasn't been on the tour all that long, Vegas. But Vegas, they've been racing there since the mid-'90s. And here we are. This is the mid-20-teens.
Right.
So there's so much good past history. Martinsville has lights. That's the oldest racetrack on the circuit. We're still racing there. They just put up lights. So there's so many different things to appreciate and to feel good about in our sport. And also the auto manufacturers. This is the strongest that I've seen them battling it all out between Ford, Chevrolet, and Toyota.
And Stewart-Haas changed over to Ford from Chevy this year. You ran Fords in your past. Is it a big difference? What's the difference, for the common fan out there that doesn't understand what happens in that motor?
Well, the outside shell of the car,
right,
and how it fits its templates. Those are all designed primarily by the manufacturer now, because we want it to replicate the car that they sell, so
right,
a Ford Fusion. And then the engine. All the engines for Ford are done by Doug Yates. I like that. That way it's not a Hendrick motor supplying it to Stewart-Haas Racing or something via that. But with the body, the engine, then the people, the engineering staff. I mean, I come into an office like this and I see computers everywhere and different equations, algorithms, and the way that they can support us behind the scenes. Ford has ramped it up a ton.
Talk a little bit about Atlanta. Last year you're on the pole here, finished fourth. Like you said, a few wins here. What's special about this track?
It's old school fun with the asphalt being worn out. You're out there slip sliding around, and qualifying's tough. You got to get 3 really good laps out of one set of tires. And in the race, if you burn up all your tires too early, you're not going to be good at the end for the restarts that could come out at the end. So the tough part here is the strategy. Do you save your tires for the end, or do you use your tires for these new stage racing and get those points early in the race? Right.
We saw the stage racing last week, but we'll really get a good feel for it, I feel like, this week. And when you have tires that are going to wear out so quick, it does, it threw in a different aspect last week when we had people on different tires, but I feel like Atlanta is going to be that much more separating, like you said, the comers and the goers.
Yes. Restrictor plate racing is one thing with strategy. Road courses, that'll be crazy. Pocono is crazy because you can pit and not lose a lap if you're running up front. Tracks like Atlanta, though, Texas, well, it's being repaved, but any track that wears out the tires, like Atlanta does, that's where you're really going to have that crew chiefs pulling their hair out, trying to decide, do I pit now and protect this top 5 position and get the points, or do I save this set of tires for later in the race when they're handing out those points?
Last year, Denny Hamlin came through Atlanta, and Atlanta's now the second stop after Daytona. Do you like that, to kind of stay on the East Coast for a couple races before you head out west?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a perfect stop. Hit Daytona Beach, hit Atlanta, and then out to the West Coast. Even when we come back from the West Coast, I think we might be able to make an adjustment on the schedule. I think we end up at Martinsville and then back to Texas. But there's flights. There's new age of travel. You can get around pretty quick. For me, just an exciting time to win the Daytona 500 and to have a great team at Stewart-Haas, switching to Ford, and then with Monster Energy. It's getting married. It's been incredible. I'm on a roll.
And you guys, for the rest of the season, you're kind of locked in the chase now, but especially with the stage racing, there's a lot of points to be had for you. So you can't just chill out until the chase starts.
Yeah, we want to go out there and accumulate the bonus points that go with us throughout the chase. And those are race wins and those segment wins, because they'll give you the opportunity to have maybe a slow pit stop, or the driver didn't quite hit the setup exactly right with the engineering communications. And so if you have a bad race at Martinsville, let's say, in the chase, and you got 20 bonus points collected, that'll help you by 20 positions.
So we look forward to watching this weekend, and the great news for you is that the media part is almost over. You get to get on the track tomorrow and do what you like. So good luck to you this weekend. We're looking forward to watching Kurt Busch at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a 2:30 green flag. You can watch it right here on Fox 5.